students of the New York Academy of Performing Arts witness many ups and downs in 4 years. In the process of achieving fame, they fall in love with their art and those closest to them. Ms. Sims at the Academy knows people need to pay with their sweat for fame. On the audition day for the new batch, the youngsters are busy warming up. Jenny nervously hurries through the train station. Victor's father wishes him luck before he leaves the house. While some of them prepare confidently, Malik needs to sneak out of his house. Ms. Kraft is trying to choose the dancers when she comes across Kevin. His mother has a dance studio in Iowa, and he's trying to learn ballet professionally. As Jenny anxiously waits in line, the musicians, singers, actors, and dancers keep coming in to impress the teachers. When it's time for the musicians, Denise plays the piano for Mr. Martin Cranston. He has heard just enough to know she is already amazing at it. Kraft is very impressed with the first group of dancers and asks the next ones to come forward. When it comes to performing the role of a frustrated girlfriend, Joy nails the part. Victor plays his composition on the piano, which also has a part with the guitar. Martin thinks he is very talented and wants to see how their journey goes. Jenny is looking for Mr. James Dowd's acting class when Marco asks if she's lost. He points her in the right direction, claiming that he saw people with wigs going there. He wishes her luck and hopes she gets the part. Jenny forgets her dialogue mid-sentence and starts fumbling on stage. James asks her to take a deep breath and try again. When Malik gets too passionate with his audition, James reminds him he's acting for the theater. He wants Malik to know the difference between angry characters and angry actors. Marco is a natural at singing when he performs for Ms. Fran Rowan. He doesn't have any training and only sings at his dad's restaurant. Freshman year has started, and Ms. Sims wants them to know the 200 of them beat over 10,000 applicants. She still wants to give them a reality check. She feels the next 4 years will be much harder for them than anyone else. They'll have to find a way to balance their arts classes with academics. If anyone gets below a C average, they're automatically out. She claims no one at the Academy cares about their dreams or them getting famous. She wants to teach them discipline and what it means to be a performing artist. As the dance training starts, Rosie is frustrated she's not able to get it right. Kevin fails at lifting his partner, forcing Kraft to intervene. She shows him the right way to do it with his stomach and back. To explain how he can support the partner, she calls Jeremy and Alice for a demo. She thinks Kevin won't be able to become a professional ballet dancer till he learns how to work with a partner. Jeremy and Alice are flawless and Kraft is in awe of how good they are. James asks his students to do an exercise to understand how to be spontaneous. He feels like it's the best way for them to get in touch with the characters they play. Everyone does a random gesture till it's Jenny's turn, who feels nervous. He asks her to get out of her head and relax more. He wants everyone to let loose and shake it off, but Jenny is still very stiff. As the pianists start playing, Martin asks Victor to look at the sheet more than the piano. It's soon lunchtime, and everyone wants this break. Denise nervously gets her lunch and asks to sit next to someone. Andy keeps bragging to women about getting calls from casting directors who are interested in him. Joy and Jenny are friends now, and they discuss the class that day. When Marco asks Jenny to hang out, she claims she has a lot of work before the homework. All the students are pretty much in love with their art, and want to practice their instruments in the canteen too. As some students start rapping, someone jumps from one table to another for a dance. Everyone keeps joining in the fun, including Jenny. They all bond over their passion for the arts. But Denise finds all this uncomfortable and leaves the hall. She finds Malik studying outside. She thinks her parents would freak out if they know all this happens here. When she sits next to him, Malik tells her something to make her feel better. His mother doesn't even know he goes there. She doesn't approve of him becoming an actor or a rapper, but he's sure since she works 3 jobs, he will manage to keep this a secret. Denise isn't sure she wants to play the piano, because she has never really tried anything else. Victor watches Alice practicing in a room when Marco joins him. Victor has a crush on her, and knows she's the most talented dancer in school. Marco needs to leave, but he wishes him luck. When Alice is done, Victor opens the door and enters. Jenny is nervous again as she sings in front of Fran and the students. No one is impressed, but Marco keeps smiling at her. Fran thinks she's not getting any emotions from Jenny. She tells the class about the importance of writing down the lyrics and reading it to themselves like a monologue. She thinks Jenny's song was pretty, but she didn't feel anything. Fran calls Marco to the stage next to sing it like he means it. Marco sounds perfect and Jenny can tell Fran is impressed, but she doesn't feel very good about it. Jenny shares with Marco that she lives in Long Island with her dad. He is impressed by how focused and committed she is. Jenny points out that since he's the best singer in the class, he has a lot of responsibility. But for Marco, it's all about staying happy. She doesn't understand how he takes things so lightly. She feels like she would do anything to be in his place. It seems to her that a lot of talented people could have taken her place. She is sure Marco won't understand her struggle. When Denise is done practicing for the day, Martin comments on how talented she is. He's looking for an accompanist for their spring production in Chicago, and asks her to consider it. Her dad doesn't like that this will involve late nights. Denise wants him to understand what an honor it is for a freshman to be asked to perform for one of the musicals. Her dad asks her to focus on training to be a classical pianist. He is clear he doesn't want any other distractions for her. She still feels like she wants to try something different. But when he threatens to pull her out of school, she has no choice. Even her mom refuses to support her in this case. Malik's mom is angry he's studying performing arts, which she thinks is too risky. She feels like everyone on the street wants to be a performer. Malik knows his grades are good and begs her to let him stay there. He knows he can be one of the chosen few who get successful in the industry. In sophomore year, the dancers are doing great till Kevin comes to the floor. Martin asks Victor to stop playing, because he has no regard for the exact music notes. He doesn't want to listen to Victor's interpretation of the music they're supposed to play. He wants the class to know there's nothing wrong with following the drill and the given technique. In fact, he feels it frees the performer more. Victor thinks box music is too boring, since he lived too many years ago. But Martin insists he needs to play it exactly like it's written, and there's no way around it. Malik shares the story of how his little sister Ayanna died while playing on the street. He has a tattoo to remember her every day. As moving as the story is, James doesn't think he's sharing how he felt after her passing. He has given all the facts, but refuses to cry in front of them. When he gets offended and leaves, James asks if he cried the night she passed away and blamed himself for not preventing it. Malik comes back to let James know he will be famous one day. But James still thinks theater is not a place for cowards like him who can't own their truth. When she's alone, Denise takes a step back from her usual practice. She starts singing a modern song much better than anyone else there has. As an announcement is made about rehearsals being canceled because of dance practice, Denise steps out. But Malik heard her perform and informs her that he knows her secret. He loves her voice and has an offer for her. He asks her to trust him and takes her to Victor, who is working on a record. They want to produce a song, and just need the singer. He assures Victor that Denise's voice will be perfect for what they need. Denise is hesitant to record anything since she knows her dad won't approve. But when Victor claims he doesn't have to know, she agrees. At a Halloween carnival, Victor informs Malik that he has finished the record. Malik wants to play it to check how people respond. When he puts it in, everyone starts grooving and they love it. Denise is paranoid he's playing their song because her parents don't know she does this. Malik asks her to relax since they're not there. He also asks her to notice how people are reacting to it. She feels proud of how happy everyone seems. When Malik announces it has been produced by Victor, Alice seems very impressed. When it's time to announce who is on the vocals, he doesn't reveal the name because he knows Denise is paranoid. Neil records Joy as she drinks and gets wasted. As she falls down, she gets an idea and starts rapping on the bench. She's doing great till she feels the need to puke, and Neil's movie ends there. James is impressed by his short film, but teases Joy about drinking too much. Marco wants just one date with Jenny at his dad's restaurant. She doesn't understand why he keeps asking when she's always rejecting him. But he holds out the hope that she will say yes one day. She is moved by this gesture and finally agrees for the date. Alice is having dinner with her parents, who wonder when she'll become a professional dancer. Her dad is sure her aloofness has something to do with depression. She assures them she is just bored because of their company. When Victor walks in, she gets excited. She loves spending time with him and welcomes him as her partner. Jenny shares that she's frustrated because she has never had to work so hard for something in life before. She also thinks Marco won't understand, since everything comes easily to him. Marco explains that he has been performing at this place his whole life and is used to it. He was even collecting tips as a first grader. She asks him to play the piano for her and claims she will see if she wants to tip him. He starts with a nursery rhyme, but moves on to something more serious. She is moved by the romantic song he plays for her. After his performance, she puts a tip in his jar and they kiss. In junior year, Marco and Jenny are happy and together as they sing the chorus with Ms. Sims. Joy has an audition that day, but she's sure she won't get it. She has a casting director, but she's always up against the same 15 girls who get these roles. Kevin already thinks she's much better than them and asks her to be positive. Neil informs them he has an offer for an independent film. He plans to make a short film about a legendary director who passes away while filming. His inadequate son takes over his father's work by finishing the film. Neil is very excited about it and is sure he'll go to Sundance. He goes for an interview at a cramped-up place. Eddie, his producer, claims he loves his script and would be honored to make it. He claims they never work on shorts, but want to make an exception for Neil. But he wants to discuss the budget and asks Neil how he will raise the money for it. Neil's dad thinks it's weird his producer is asking him for money, but Neil thinks this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity he can't miss. He thinks the producer is not the financier and asks his dad for $5,000 for the film. He shows how dedicated he is. He claims even Eddie assured him they can make profits by selling it to television. He promises his dad this is a real film and he can make it work. Jenny and Marco arrive at a party, and she instantly wants to know when they can leave. Marco asks her to relax and have fun since they never get out. He also goes to get some drinks for them. Andy comes over to let Jenny know he remembers her monologue from the time he was still at the academy. He doesn't remember her name, but he thinks she was very good. He claims he misses the place and she shares that she has been watching his show. His friend calls him for shots, but Jenny is not interested in joining. He informs her that people at the show are looking for some day players, and asks if she will be interested. He knows he can put in a good word for her, which sounds like the perfect opportunity. She feeds her number in his phone so he can contact her, but Marco doesn't like this. He leaves after kissing her on the cheek, and Jenny notices Marco is angry. She explains that Andy was trying to help her out professionally. Marco asks her to not be so naive. He is sure Andy wants to just hook up with her and has no interest in her talent. When she gets offended, he clarifies that he always believes in her, but he just didn't like the way Andy was looking at her. She promises that she will never talk to him if it means so much to him. She also offers to take Marco to her dad's apartment. Denise, Victor, and Malik play their song for a music executive, who finds it very interesting. He asks to get back to them because he is sure their song has something. Denise asks them to not get so excited since he didn't confirm anything yet. But Victor and Malik are sure he loved it and think they're getting rich soon. Joy finally has a role in a proper show. They told her she will be semi-regular at first, but take on the role of the lead soon. Jenny is very excited for her, but Joy still can't believe she's going to get paid to act. Fran brings them for karaoke night and asks them to have fun singing on the stage in front of strangers. She assures them everyone is expecting them to be terrible, but it's also part of their grade. They all have their share of fun till Fran comes to the stage at the end. When she starts singing, Joy thinks she is amazing. They all cheer for her when the performance is over. She wonders why her students are so boring in class, but great at karaoke night. She wants them to remember the reaction of the audience, since she feels that is most important. Marco thinks she should perform more often, and they all agree. But she explains she left performing a very long time ago. She was a theater major in college and moved to the big city after graduation. She started auditioning and did everything she could. But after a while, she realized it wasn't meant to be. But when she still goes to watch Broadway musicals, she knows she could have easily done the role too. The music executive informs Victor and Malik that he's not interested in working with them. He was excited about their music earlier because he loves Denise's voice. He thinks it's hard to find a voice like hers and suggests that she should work with other amazing producers. Victor is angry because this was his song. Even Malik claims they wouldn't have discovered her voice if he didn't find her. But the executive asks them to be practical and step aside. He thinks Denise has great potential and it's her time to shine. When they both walk off in anger, Denise also doesn't take his offer and follows them. Jenny comes on set to visit Andy and asks for him. In his trailer, she reminds Andy they had to meet his casting director like he promised her. Andy claims she's out that day because of the flu. She feels like she can come back again, but Andy stops her. He claims the casting director wanted them to record a scene for her. He gives her a script which confuses her, but he explains that the scene is about a time she comes back from a party to his apartment. Before they decide to tape it, he assures her she will be great. He claims to have also told the casting director that Jenny is the prettiest girl at performing arts. He turns on the camera and asks her to give her introduction. He sits next to her to enact their scene and she nervously fumbles her dialogue. He knows his next line to her and is a natural at acting. But when he starts kissing her neck, she reminds him he has another line. Andy likes to improvise and gets irritated that she interrupted him. He thinks if she wants to be an actress, she needs to be ready for whatever people throw at her. When he asks if he's wrong, Jenny agrees with him and apologizes for the interruption. They decide to do the scene again, and after the first few lines, he kisses her again. She goes along with it at first, but realizes he is getting too touchy. She gets irritated and stops him. He wants her to know many girls die for an opportunity like this with him. But she knows this is more than just about the audition. He admits he likes to collect tapes with some women. When she's very insulted, he's surprised she expected anything else when she came to his trailer. Jenny explains to Marco that she went to see Andy on set because of the casting director. From her expressions, he knows Andy must have tried something on her. When she confirms it, he claims he already warned her about him. She still went behind his back. She admits she was wrong. But she also reveals that she had thought she could go along with a little bit of flirting if it gets her the gig. Marco is very disappointed at this point. He thinks if becoming famous is so important to her, she can go ahead. He leaves her there and breaks up with her. Neil explains to Earl at the desk that he has already given the check to the producer. He wants the equipment to start filming. But Earl doesn't have his name registered on the computer and there's nothing he can do. When Neil goes back to Eddie's office, he finds it empty and knows he got scammed. It's already senior year, and Ms. Kraft refuses to write a letter of recommendation for Kevin. She used to think he was a promising candidate initially, but over time, she realized he doesn't have what it takes to pursue it professionally. She understands he works harder than the others, but doesn't think he's a good enough dancer. Alice, on the other hand, is getting better with every practice. She is the star performer in their group and no one can match her. Kraft wants Kevin to be prepared for what happens next. He will graduate, but she doesn't think he can make a career out of it. She knows other students will get picked by large productions. Since that's not an option for him, she asks him to consider teaching as a profession. At the train station, the girls start discussing Joy's role in Sesame Street. Kevin feels very numb, but keeps sitting with them for a long time. After a while, he gets up and starts moving towards the tracks. He stands on the edge and waits for the train. Jenny notices him just in time and calls out to him. They manage to pull him away before the train arrives. As Joy hugs Kevin, they are all shocked about what he was about to do. Alice has been missing from school and not responding to Victor's calls. She apologizes because she has been very busy practicing and getting ready. She recently got into Complexions, the greatest modern dance company in the world. They want to take her on a world tour, and he's really happy for her. She will have to travel to 22 cities, and they start rehearsals next week. When he asks what it means for her, she claims she's dropping out of school. She can see he's disappointed and apologizes for not letting him know sooner. She also makes it clear she won't be able to keep visiting him there like he expects. It's more than just the traveling for her, because she knows everyone goes their separate ways after the academy. She wants him to know that's how the world works, but he doesn't take this breakup very well. James wants to know what happened to Malik's dad, and wants an honest answer as his teacher. Joy also comes to see Sims so they can discuss her grades. Malik shares that his dad left as soon as Ayanna was born. He never even came back for her funeral and has been missing since. Joy has tried her best to work on her studies, but she doesn't know what to do. The show is taking up all her time and she doesn't think it will get better. James knows Malik's struggles and secrets are all a part of who he is. He wants him to stop denying it so he can become a true actor. Sims claims the school is there to help out artists and send them in the world when they're ready. She asks if Joy is ready. James keeps urging Malik to break his walls and be honest about who he is. Victor and Malik ask Denise why she's looking so nervous. She shows them that her parents are there. They turned up when she informed them some kids from school are going to perform classical jazz. Malik and Victor think this will be fun because they are all performing hip-hop. As the other students drink, Neil claims he can't afford anything till he pays his father back for the scam. Marco speaks to Jenny after a long time and asks her how she is. She feels bad about hurting him and regrets going to Andy for all the wrong reasons. She knows things might never be the same, but asks if he can forgive her. The show is about to start, so their friends call them. Marco decides they can discuss this later. Denise walks towards the stage as a man announces their performance. As the curtain opens, Malik finally tells his real story through a rap. It excites the crowd and James is proud he finally accepts himself. Denise initially starts singing nervously because she can tell her parents are very confused. But Malik soon comes to join her and encourages her to be herself. With his help, she starts confidently singing and is totally in her element. The crowd loves her voice as usual, and she's better than ever. Denise proudly admits she is on the vocals this time. By the end of her performance, even her mom smiles. Marco and Jenny also seem to have patched up. Denise's dad is pissed she tricked them into coming there. He also had no idea she could sing. She feels like this was the only way she could show them who she really is. Playing the piano is not enough for her anymore, and she is tired of sitting in the orchestra and not getting noticed. When her dad threatens to pull her out of the school, her mom intervenes. Her mom has seen her play the piano all her life, and thinks Denise has always done what they expected from her. Now that she can tell Denise doesn't love it, she is sure she should stay at the school. She claims they will support her no matter what. When her father tries to fight her, she makes it clear that her decision is final. Jenny gives a powerful monologue about success. She thinks it's defined by doing what you're passionate about and being surrounded by people you love. According to her, it helps people connect and she thinks is all about freedom, friendship, and love. Joy doesn't go to school anymore, but she brings a robe for Kevin for the graduation. All his stuff is missing, because he's going back to Iowa. Joy doesn't understand because they had a discussion about him staying back. But he explains that he's lucky he has options. He has decided to go back and take over his mom's studio as a dance teacher. Neil records himself and claims these 4 years of ups and downs were everything he ever hoped for. All of them gather to support the graduates for their final performance together in school. After the orchestra, Jenny and Marco take over the stage and sing a beautiful duet. They make way for Denise, who gives another powerful solo. There's a lot more dancing and singing till they all gather for the grand finale. In the end, they receive the standing ovation they deserve.